Shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
We're going to be talking about the community living. As you know, the other day we did a video talking about community living and what are the other options. And the video, we lost our internet connection, and so we wanted to kind of finish that up.
Yeah, we're just finishing up from before. I can't remember exactly when, but it's been a few days since we did the part one to this. So we're just jumping back into it to finish up a few things. From the other day, we've gotten a lot of emails and responses since then as well. So we just kind of wanted to clarify a few things based on some of the responses we did receive.
Yes.
The part that we didn't really get a chance to get into were some of the other options in regards to community living. And a couple of those options we've been looking at are tiny home communities and RV living.
Yes.
With those, we've seen a lot of models up and around the country. Some of them are specifically, hey, look, I got an RV park or a tiny home community. Come and park here, pay your lot fee, and that's it. Some of them are straightforward, just like that. While there are others who are a little more involved, or should I say a lot more involved, where they're saying, look, we have this community of like-minded individuals. This is the goal. This is the plan. Anyone who lives here, this is what you must abide by.
Exactly.
Okay. So you have those models in place as well. But in terms of RV living, whether it's RV living, travel trailers, or tiny homes, in regards to that, we have already looked at the requirements for the county and all of those things, but we still haven't decided what direction we're going, if we're even going to do a community or anything like that at all.
Yeah.
One thing that we do know is that our main goal is to focus on food security. And that being said, we still definitely want to have a team.
Yes.
I'd rather review it as or see it as a team of people. You know, not necessarily someone who's just trying to get into a community, but a team of people.
Exactly. Now, food security, it's really important that we understand, that you all understand what we're talking about when we say food security. So you got to understand, it's one thing to help somebody out by handing them some canned goods, right? You hand them some canned goods, you hand them some bottled water. Okay, that's helping them out, but think about it though. Is that really helping them out? It's helping them out for that moment, for that day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when we're talking about food security, we're talking about securing your food situation. Securing it to where you know how to grow food. You're growing food. You're producing your own food pretty much. And that's what we aim to do.
Yes. And so that being said, with our goal being really to provide food security, we definitely are praying that the Most High has someone or some people in mind who has the same goal. We touched on it before as to what happened with our first community endeavor, and it was for a number of different reasons why things did not work. A number of different reasons. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that right now. I just want to spend a little bit of time just to refresh those of you who didn't know, because we still have people asking if they can come and live with us where we are, and unfortunately we cannot do that.
Right.
We cannot do that, and hopefully no one takes offense to that, but we cannot do that, which is why we said, okay, with having another farm makes it easier for us to possibly have something like that at that location, but we cannot do something like that here because the experience we had before was horrible, and people need to know it and understand it. So when they're asking someone, it's kind of like this. How many of you, whether you're live with us in the chat right now or you're going to come and see this later, I just want to ask you all this. Okay, I'm going to put this question to you. How many of you would allow strangers that you do not know to come and live with you and your family, whether it's in your home, on your land, or in a community with you or whatever, and you don't know anything about them? How many of you would do that?
Exactly.
How many of you would do that? I'm just curious. Would you allow people that you do not know to come and live around you and your family, or live in the house with you and your family, or live on your farm with you and your family? People that you do not know. You met them online on the internet. Would you do that? Okay.
You know,
Sister Fakriya says, not me. Someone said, I wouldn't, can't do it. Not me, is not happening. Another person says, not many. Someone says, once. Okay, I wouldn't. Okay, someone says, my husband just found, Tracy says, my husband just found out his family has over 600 acres in Louisiana here with several lakes on it. We're definitely looking into that for sure. That would, oh my goodness, 600 acres. That's a lot of land. Okay, so.
That's a lot of land right there.
So a lot of people says, no way, no ma'am, I will never.
I'm going to tell you an incident that happened with us one time. And it was a guy that lived in the neighborhood where we were staying. And he needed some help, so we wanted to help him out. So we got him some groceries and things like that. And then we knew he didn't have a job. He needed a place to stay. And so we got him some food. We also started giving him work and everything, right? So there was a ministry that put him up in a house. They had a house they put him up in. But this guy actually asked me this. He asked if he could just rent out one of our rooms in our home. And I looked at this fella. He's like 6'6", big giant fella, right?
He looked like he's about 300 pounds.
300 pounds. And when I said, you asking me if you could move into my home? I said, man, I have X amount of kids.
Mm-hmm. I have daughters. We don't know you.
I have daughters. I don't know you. You expect me to just move you right now? So he started laughing after that because he knew it sounded crazy.
Yeah, he knew it sounded crazy. I mean, this was a man from the neighborhood, and we only met him because he was homeless, and this church was helping him out. And so they told him maybe they need some work over there. And so he did some work for us on, at the time we had a smaller farm. And we, fed him a couple of times, and that doesn't mean that you can just move in on us. I guess, again, he looked at us. Oh, they're nice. They look like they got the room, enough space. And so this stranger, this man that we don't know, asked if he can move into our house. And so a lot of people, sometimes we look at comments and people expect a lot out of others. They expect you to have a stupid Christian mindset. I know that sounds cold what I'm saying, but when you've been through what we've been through, you kind of change your tone a little bit. Yeah. I mean, of course, we did used to come off as pushovers, and I don't want nobody to confuse us with pushovers anymore, Exactly. So, and I said that too because someone said something about Torah. In our last video said, according to Torah, you should do this, that, and the third for people. And, I just want people to understand that we have done this, that, and the third for people.
Yes.
But Torah also requires us to have a certain way that we deal with people in righteousness and that they deal with us in righteousness.
That's right.
And then there's a proceeding word of Yah too. The word says, be careful for nothing.
That's right.
Okay. The word also tells us to prove. In the Apocrypha, it says that you prove a friend, right? And it also tells you not to accept anyone into your house until you know or have vetted them. It doesn't use the words vet, but there's so much that we have read after the fact that says, look, you don't make those kind of moves without getting a word from Yah. So that being said, no, we will not be having people to move to the land where we are. For those who have asked, no offense to you, but it's not fair to even ask us that, especially when we don't know you. Okay, of course you may look at us and say you're comfortable, but I'm comfortable with you all. I'm comfortable. We've heard so many people say how comfortable they are with us and they love us, and guess what? We love you all too, but we've got to be careful.
And you got to understand, just to be honest, that does sound strange. Think about how strange that is, that you don't know someone and you're asking if you come and live with them.
Right.
and they don't know you. You got to understand that sounds strange.
Right.
Now, if there was a stranger you didn't know, and that stranger was like, yeah, I want to know if I can move in your home or just move or park me a tent right next to your house, so you'd be like, I don't know you. Who are you? You don't know who you moving up next to you and your family and your children. So you got to be careful. We learned the hard way.
Yes, we already learned it the hard way.
We learned it the hard way by having
learned
people around our family that you don't vet, you don't know nothing about people, and you're going to let them around your family. You just don't know what you're dealing with in people.
Right. And so, I mean, it had to be said, family. We have to say this because, and we don't want anyone to take offense because y'all know we love you. You know we do. But we don't know people enough, and we've already been down this road. People
have a different perspective. Let me just share this real quickly, right? You have a person that'll look at you in the video, and they'll say, "Oh, that person they look so sad. They can't be happy." Other people look and they say, "Man, they look so happy together."
Right.
You get somebody, oh, they look sad. They look like they about to get a divorce. You got people who just sees these negative things.
And so why bring them around you? I mean, so let's let's move right along because y'all be surprised at the number of messages we get. The weird messages, the things that just make you say, "Father, help your children."
Yeah.
And don't let them fall by the side of the road, because our people sometimes can really grieve you or vex your spirit when they are not led of the Ruach HaKodesh.
Yes.
So back to what we are trying to do here. We are trying to focus on food security. And in order to do that, we know that we may require other hands. Now, my brother already moved to the area, and when, we had mentioned something to him, he had already said that, hey, but I know he's got his things he's working on too, He and his family have their things that they're working on, but he already said, hey, if y'all need somebody to do this, that, and the third, I mean, that makes you comfortable. That's family, family, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm grateful that they're here.
And they have helped us with a lot of different things too,
they've bought their own property, and so, of course, I wouldn't expect him to do that, but I appreciate the offer. And so our thinking is that what we have done here, it would be nice to duplicate something like this in many places, as Yah wills.
Yes.
As Yah wills, because the goal is to provide food locally. And not just that, like Watchman said, we don't want to necessarily just pass out food, canned goods and dry goods, although that is going to be a part of what we do. Yah willing, of course.
Yes.
We actually want to be hands-on and show people just how easy it is to grow their own food.
Yes.
Because we all see the direction that the country is headed. We all see it.
Yes. Now let me say something too. I want you all to think about this, right? I'm going to tell you why this is so important, what we're talking about doing. Okay. Now, imagine being in a neighborhood, right? That you're the only one that's growing anything, right? Mm-hmm. You're the only one that's growing food in your backyard. You maybe have some chickens in the chicken coop, and you the only one, right? So now, the stuff hit the fan, and all hell done broke loose, and the stores have cleared their shelves. Now you got all these people around you that ain't growing nothing and doing nothing, and now they looking at you and what you got going on like you're gold, right?
Right.
So wouldn't it be better to talk to some of these people beforehand and to get them involved in having gardens too and planting food too? You get what I'm saying? You would be in a much better situation if you're not the only one, but there's several of you all in the neighborhood that got these food lots where you're growing food in or whatever, right?
Now, see, in the areas that we are, there are a lot of farms.
Yes.
Okay, but there are also individuals who are not into growing anything. Khalif asks, what's the ministry with the farmland? This is our ministry, brother Khalif Yahu, is our ministry. We're just basically expanding what we do for the brother who asked the question. Our ministry here. We're trying to develop our second farm into something where we'll be able to teach food security as well as grow food there, have seeds as well, and things that we can continue to share. We've already been giving seeds and other things. Hold on one second. One of the kids are asking a question. Yes. Okay. We already have other things that we've been doing and we enjoy doing, but we want to take it a step further.
Yes.
What this the other farm will allow us to do is to grow other food in another area away from us, okay, so that we could still achieve what we're trying to achieve, even possibly setting up a farmer's market situation, or just delivering, because we are going to be talking about our mobile food pantry initiative as well. We're going to be talking about that as well, where we'll be able to go to those within a certain radius around us. So we're trying to not only just do something locally, but encourage others as well who want to take part in this. And you may not have the desire to have a community, but this is still something you can do locally.
Yes.
And from what I've seen so far, those who are doing similar things, they really enjoy it. You get to meet other people, right? And you're growing food. You're providing security for yourself and for many others. A lot of the farmers that we watch and that we see, they actually grow so much food that they don't have room enough to receive. You see? And some of these farmers don't have animals that they can give it to, right?
Right.
A lot of our overage, we're able to provide food for the animals, for anyone else who we want to give it to, and things of that nature. So that's the goal. That is our main goal. But it would be awesome, and we've put this petition before the Most High already, if we can have a team. I like the word team better. Yeah. A team works together, right? A team of people with the same goal.
A team, and maybe even it's amazing. We saw this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This movie is called The Lost Husband. You get a chance to check this movie out. Now, of course, there are things in the movie that there's certain 2 points that I want to bring out in this movie. Okay, this woman had this farm. She had a goat farm where she was raising these goats, and she was using the milk to make goat cheese, and it was just an awesome farm. She had a real big, huge farm, right? Now, this lady, because she was, I want to say middle age, she was probably about, I wouldn't say in her 50s, maybe 60s, okay? And so, this woman, what she decided to do, she said, man, it's too hard for me to just do things myself, because she didn't have a husband, and she had a boyfriend pretty much, but she didn't. He
passed away.
Her husband had passed away, exactly. And so, she hired a guy, called him her farm manager. And that's why you got to see this movie, because what was interesting about it, this dude showed up with his trailer, his truck. Now he had a nice one of those metal tube looking trailers, that he was staying in. But that's what he was living in. He parked it on her lot. She was paying him to manage her farm, and he was getting things out of it too. And he completely managed her entire farm. It was really incredible, to see that. And so, the mindset that I'm talking about is that her daughter, it was her niece. Her niece needed a place to stay because her husband was killed, and so she needed a place to stay, and so she ended up moving in with her, right? And when she moved in, her mindset was, I'm gonna move in with my auntie, and I'm gonna just kick my feet up and just chill. But that auntie wasn't having it.
As soon as she thought that, as soon as they got there, her and her children, they were asking about television. She said, "Nope, no television. Nope, no microwave. No
internet.
Dishwasher.
Yeah,
nope." And she pretty much said, "Here's a shovel. Here's a rake. Let's get to it."
The movie's called The Lost Husband. The Lost Husband. It's on Netflix. But I'm gonna tell you, the thing that was a trip about it was the young lady developed an attitude. Her niece developed an attitude because she didn't want to do the work. So she was walking around with an attitude, just kind of angry at first. But then after a while, once she got the hang of it and started milking the goats and doing this and doing that, then she started to love it. And she was like, wow, her attitude completely changed after that. So that I want y'all to check that movie out when you get a chance. Just look at the farming aspects of what they're talking about in the movie. It's pretty good.
Right, and there was an understanding. Hey, there's work to be done, and
that's right.
I think they even asked about something. She said, "Well, on the farm, you don't get that. I mean, there is no such thing as I forget what the statement was, but the kids they still had that city mindset.
Yeah.
And so she said, on the farm, there is no such thing, you know.
That's right.
And so a person with that kind of mindset. Knowing that there are rules, because the auntie had to lay out rules that no, you can't just sit up and do nothing. You can't sit in the seat of do nothing on a farm. There's too much to be done.
What's amazing is when she said, I want to go take a bath. He said, you don't need to take a bath right now. We need you to come on over here and do some work.
You get that afterwards.
You did that afterwards, you know. And then finally she said, I need to take a bath. She said, okay, you got 10 minutes. Go take your shower and be back here in 10 minutes. I was like, but it was kind of funny, you know, that it was like a job.
Right.
So that lady was treating it like I'm your boss. I know I'm your auntie, but I'm your boss. If you're going to live here, you got to handle your business. You
got to handle your business.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, though. See, the aunt was able to be that way.
Yes.
But there is nothing worse than trying to handle your business and say what needs to be done. And nothing worse than the people that you are working with or involved with, whether it's family, friends, or people that you've brought aboard. Nothing worse than those people kicking against the rules that you have established. Now, I can imagine that if that niece had tried to give her aunt any pushback, she would have bounced her so fast out the door. You see?
Yeah, she would have.
She would have bounced her because she already had an established way. She was a very serious-looking person. She wasn't the kind of, she's the kind of aunt that I love you.
Yeah.
You gonna know that I love you, but I don't play. Okay? All right? I don't play. She was that kind of aunt.
Yes, exactly. It was pretty interesting.
And some people don't like.
Yeah.
Someone asked the name of the movie, The Lost Husband. I believe it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Some people don't like when you're straightforward like that. They're more comfortable with you when you're a pushover and you're too laid back and like that. They're more comfortable with you like that. But in this day and age, you cannot afford to be that way. You cannot afford to be that way. You got to put your foot down because things are happening so fast, y'all. Your head will spin.
Yes.
Okay, your head will spin. Now, someone said before that the Most High has shown that we are a divided people, you know. It was spoken in His Word that we would be a divided people. Mm-hmm. And we have seen that. And because we are a divided people, you do have to be very careful of your connections.
Yes.
Be very, very careful of your connections. We know what our goal is. And our goal is because something that we all see, we've all heard that certain shortages are coming and they're happening already. And we don't want to be sitting back twiddling our thumbs when the bottom finally falls out.
Yeah, you sure don't.
We just don't. But we do recognize that the right team can make something work the way it should work.
Yes.
And that is what our goal is. And when we say the right team, we're not interested in someone saying, look, I got my own stuff I'm trying to do. So then my question would be, but why are you here then? If you knew you had your own stuff you were trying to do, why are you here when you knew that our goal was for people to work together for a common goal? If the common goal isn't to create or assist with creating food security, then why even inquire? So sometimes people will tell you what they think you want to hear. They will tell you that, but they really have no intentions of fulfilling that. And so many of you gave some tips on the last video. We got some messages, some comments, and someone said something about contracts. Okay. I think a contract is a wonderful thing. The only problem is when you're dealing with people who, I have to keep going back here, family. When you're dealing with people who will not honor a contract, but then try to lie and manipulate when they don't get what they want, those are things you have to consider as well. Those are things you have to consider as well, because you want something to run flawless, because you don't have time for conflict resolution. We're not trying to form a community like we did before. No. Nothing even near what we tried to do before. Right. We're really interested in trying to this is the operation, y'all. We're trying to grow fruit, cultivate that fruit. We're trying to grow vegetables, cultivate the vegetables, herbs, other medicinal trees. This is the goal. Yes. If you don't want to be surrounded by nature and dirt and mud and and work and stuff like that, it's pretty much it's not even worth inquiring about. Yeah, it's hard when you're trying to see a person's heart got to be in it, because we've had someone before that came and we wanted them to come on out in the garden and do some work, but they were scared of bugs and didn't want to come out and scared of bees and right. Just they didn't want to get dirty, didn't want to. It's like, well, what's the point? Right. What's the point? You don't want to do the garden thing, but you want to eat the garden food, though. And that was a family member. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's like, you want to eat the food, but you don't want to grow it. Mm-hmm. You want to eat the cow, but you don't want to raise one. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not trying to raise cattle. Right. You know what I'm saying? But at least the birds and the chickens and things like that, Yeah, certain animals we do want to raise. Yes. In that setting as well as here, we would like to be able to do it not just to necessarily just raise for us to eat, but even to take to the marketplace. You see, be competitive around here. We see many others who sell their quail, for instance. Yes. And they sell it at a good price. Mm-hmm. And so it's a number of different things we have in mind. You see, there's a number of different things we have in mind. And that being said, that is what our goal is. And we, everyone who have inquired so far, we appreciate the inquiries. But we want everyone to understand too that we are not trying to rush into anything. We are not going to be making any rash decisions. Yes. We have to put this in Yah's hands. We have to pray about this. Yes. We wish that this is something that we can do all over. And get this, not just us, others as well. Yes. We wish that others would do something similar as well. Yes. Because no one person can do all of it. No one person can solve all of that, right? Exactly. And we're not even trying to. We're only trying to do what part we can. That's what our goal is. We're only trying to do the part that we can. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we just kind of wanted to tie it, and just to clarify a little bit more about the RVs establishments or the tiny home establishments. We have seen some where even though people are moving there, they do have other requirements for their residents, and the residents have to agree with that before moving in. Of course, there is a lease that they sign, and so that was another option that we considered as well. Mm-hmm. If you do it as a lease signing, and if the person fulfills their portion of the lease, which it may be okay, you're going to pay to park here. This is how RV parks do it. This is how tiny home communities do it. You pay to park there, okay? But if there are other requirements as well, one of the requirements may be that the residents of this establishment have to keep the grass cut. Yeah, whether it's a trailer park or tiny home park, you may be required to keep your grass, keep your line together, keep things neat. That's the one thing that you definitely got to have. People got to keep stuff neat, right? Because it's gonna weigh on you when you look over there and you see their stuff all wild and crazy, and it's gonna weigh on you. Be like, I need this straightened up. So you can have those kinds of rules in place. And so we were looking at those as options as well,
Yes.
so that we don't get into all this other stuff that we got into before family, where
Yes.
people required more than what we were even offering. Okay, requiring more than what we were even offering. If you bring a tiny home or a trailer or whatever, you are responsible for that.
Yes.
Okay. And we are not going to be living at that location. So if there's a farm, if we do have a farm manager there, they are not responsible to repair someone's trailer or tiny home either. Now, that's not to say that if someone knows how to do that, that they can't help, because we did have someone who questioned, would we help someone if they absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not what we're trying to do here is not necessarily about whether or not we would help someone if they needed help. That wasn't the issue. We're just trying to make a point that don't get upset if someone can't help you, especially if they don't know how to. If someone doesn't know the mechanics of fixing an electrical problem in a trailer or something like that, don't get upset and throw up videos on YouTube talking about you exposing somebody because they can't do something that they weren't even required to do to begin with.
Yeah,
you see.
Exactly. So if you come with a trailer, you just got to make sure your trailer is together. If you don't have heat in your trailer, you got to figure that out. If you got a problem with your heater in the trailer, you're going to have to figure that out, because Watchman is not a heating and cooling repairman. You know what I mean?
And so,
you may have to get in touch with a trailer company.
That's right.
A trailer company to come and have someone take a look at that, or a heating and cooling specialist or something.
And again, we are mentioning this because of a question someone had on our last post about wouldn't Torah require that we help people. Okay, yes, absolutely. Torah, we can't use the Torah to justify taking advantage of others or using others. We cannot use the Torah to do that, especially when someone is being kind to you or being a blessing to you. Some people will try to use the Bible, period, not just the Torah, but they will try to use the Bible to back you into a corner to do something.
A good example is the Acts scripture. Where it said where Peter and them told everybody to go and sell all that they had and come and lay it at the apostles' feet so it may be divided. So then you got somebody who don't have nothing to say, oh man, I'm gonna see if we can get this going over here. And the person say, well, what are you trying to get going? Well, I was wondering if all of you could sell all that you have, and so that we can divide it among us all. And I said, okay, so what do you have? Oh, I ain't got nothing. Don't that sound kind of strange? He's the one that brings it that we should do this, and you don't have anything to sell, or you get what I'm saying?
One thing we have to understand too about the scripture in Acts, that was a certain group of people who were trying to do a certain thing. That wasn't,
and they were led of the Spirit to do it.
Right.
Too.
They were led of the Ruach to do that. That wasn't how every Israelite family lived.
Right. Exactly.
There's a passage that talks about the inheritance of a particular tribe, that they wanted to keep their inheritance within their tribe. And even within the family, the scripture talks about a father leaving something to his children. So everyone did not have every Israelite didn't live like the people in the book of Acts. Okay? And so when people use that to try to manipulate you, you have to understand and look at history in its real and true context, and how Israelites had individual families. They had individual lives, and not all of us lived and dwelled together during certain time periods, as far as in a community setting like what they were putting together in Acts.
Yeah, and people just don't misunderstand. Just like we said, if you have a brother that's in need, of course you're supposed to help him.
Absolutely.
If he needs help with this and help with that, and you can help him, fine, then help him. You know what I'm saying? Understand where we're going with that, you know? Of course you can. And
be careful too. This is why you have to understand the scripture in its entirety. The scripture actually tells you to be careful who you help, right?
Yeah.
And we gave some great examples of that before. How if you are handing money to someone who may be a user of drugs, and they go out and they use the money that you gave them because you thought that was the Christian thing to do.
Yes.
We were Christians at the time. This is why I'm saying that. You give this person that money and they go out and buy some drugs with that money. you have to understand that you can't apply every scripture to every situation. You give
That's
that
right.
person that money and they go out and get high and they rob somebody or they kill somebody with the money you gave them. Were you led of the Ruach when you gave them that money and you knew that they had some type of addiction like that?
Yeah, see?
So people try to use the Bible to manipulate situations.
Yes, they do.
You have to be led when you deal with people. We shared the story about the one pastor who wanted to help the young man who had went to prison for killing his first wife. Some of y'all might remember this story. And so this pastor wanted to be Christian-like and say, well, the man's done his time. And now that he's done his time, he's a changed man. How do you know he's changed? You don't know that. Did you seek Yah? So this guy, what he did was he gave his daughter to that man to be her husband.
Yeah.
And that same man that killed his first wife, it was a very tragic situation, but he killed that pastor's daughter as well.
Yes.
And so was that man led of the Spirit when he took this man who killed his first wife and gave his daughter to that man? This is why I say don't allow anyone to use the scripture to try to manipulate you, because they will. We've had that sort of thing done to us many times. And many of you have, from what I see in the comment section. Many of you have gone through some stuff as well. We ain't the only ones who have been through some things. We know that.
Yes.
We see the testimonies. But never allow a person to use the word of the Most High Yah to try to deceive you and manipulate you, because that lets you know that they ain't read the whole book. Because the Apocrypha, especially in the Wisdom of Sirach, is loaded with areas where it's saying you better watch out, you better be careful, trust no one, and prove this one first, and do this, do that.
So that's why Paul, when he talked about a person, he said if a man don't work, he don't eat.
Yes, come on now.
Paul was saying that because he said if you are a brother that don't understand that you gotta work to eat. Paul said, don't come and sit down to eat if you ain't gonna do no work.
Yep.
Do you hear this? This is what he said. He counted it as a wicked person. You know that you're not in the way of Yah if you don't want to work, but yet you want to eat. So he's saying if you come around somebody, you're needy, you're needing food, you're needing this, you're needing that, then you should be willing to work for it, is what Paul said.
Right.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
See, folk don't like those scriptures though.
No,
they don't like those.
Yeah, man,
they
don't
like
work, you don't eat. That's right.
They like the ones that says, be a blessing to me. Bless me, right? But they don't like the part where it says you got to do your part too.
Yeah.
If you don't work, you don't eat.
You don't
right?
eat. That's right.
And so, again, what we're talking about here is our focus on this next project is going to be on food security. That's what our focus is.
Yes.
Okay? And we want to be very hands-on with being able to show people how, those who may live around a certain radius of us, we want to be able to show people how to grow their own food. We don't want to just say, here's a food basket, okay? But what our goal is and our plan is, in the long run, and we'll talk about it in more detail, is we want to take all of our tools and our equipment, take some dirt if we have to, take the seedlings, the seeds or whatever it is we have, and go and say, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to show you how to grow some tomatoes. We want to show you how to grow some peppers. We want to show you how to grow some cucumbers, some watermelon. Based on whatever space they have, we want to put our hands in their soil and make it happen.
No charge.
Exactly. No charge for some.
For some, yeah. Unless a person comes with a very huge project they want done, then that's a different story.
For instance, if a church wants us to come and do something at their location, of course, that's different. But if we're talking about a senior citizen or something like that, or someone who
just got a little house, a little backyard,
someone who's low income or something like that, we want to go and put our hands in the soil and help them.
Right,
so exactly. That's what our goal is, because first of all, we enjoy this kind of work, and we understand that you can go and you can just pass out food baskets. We understand that, but I think showing people how fun it is to grow food. That's way more important.
And can you imagine that, right? Let's say we do go to someone's house and this person says, yes, I got a little lot in the backyard, but I just don't know how to do this stuff there. And we say, come on, we show you. And we get together, we get the raised beds or the bags or whatever we're going to plant in for the people, and we get it set up, and we get this stuff planted right. Can you imagine how that person going to feel after 3-4 weeks when they start to see the stuff come up out of that dirt?
Right.
And then after a couple of months go by, they got greens that they can go and pick, or tomatoes. That'll make a person say, wow. Yes. This is awesome, you know? And it's a good way that we can give back to the community, to those that are around us, because then that person can say, that person be like, wow, they got me going with growing stuff. I'm growing my own food now, you know?
I remember years ago, before we moved, there was a sister who follows the ministry. When she grew her first zucchini, she said, Sister Deborah, this thing is so beautiful. She took a picture of it in her arm. She had it cradled like a baby. She said, I don't know whether to eat it or to hold it like a baby. Because she was proud of the work of her hands. Yes. You see, that's how rewarding it is. And we want people to know that this is what we got to do.
Remember the young man who was planted the lettuce?
Oh yes.
Yeah, you did a video about it.
Yeah, he shared his video with us, and we put it on our garden channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, even the young man, Charles is his name, he sent us videos of his lettuce that he was growing, and I thought that was wonderful. That even our young people are saying, look, this is something awesome to get into. But this is even for those of you who already have farms and you're already growing food. You have a thirst and a drive to do this. You all may want to implement something similar in your area, to where you can just branch out just a little bit. Even don't take on more than you can take on. Of course, we're only going to do what we are able to do.
Yes.
So not so that you don't get overwhelmed by it. But if you are able to do something like this for even a neighbor, or go to your relative's house, go to your mom or your uncle, your aunt, and say, let me do this for you. Even if you do something like that, that will be a wonderful thing to get people in the mindset of growing their own food. Because sometimes when you try to explain the economy to people, it goes in one ear and out the other. We've done that before, where people say, well, just go to the grocery store, right? But if you can mix it up a little bit and say, well, you know what, things are getting kind of rough, so I just thought I'd show you just how easy it is to do this, okay? Let us do this. But in the meantime, pay attention to what's going on. The food prices are going up. Let's take a look at your favorite vegetables that you buy all the time. How much do you spend on it? I tell you what, here's a quick, easy way to put $1,000 a month in your bank account. How do you do that? That's money you don't have to spend at the store. So if you're growing it instead, you're literally putting that money in your pocket.
Yes.
That's one topic I wanted to cover on how to put that kind of money in your pocket. You basically do it by eliminating that portion from your food bill.
You know, it's amazing. It's so many things that you could do, that you could eliminate your food bill. Watch this, right? Scallions?
Yes.
These little green onions, right? Those things, when you chop off the top and you use the green onion part, did you not know the bottom, all you got to do is just plant it in some dirt, and it'll continue to grow scallions for you? And after you grow some more, just cut it off and rewater what's there, and it'll continue to grow for you. And guess what? A lot of plants are like that. For years, I've known people to just yank the whole greens up out of the ground.
Right.
And then we discovered you don't even have to do it. You just break the green off, and they'll continue to grow greens.
Yes.
As long as it's able to. It'll continue to grow those greens. It won't even seed up.
Right.
If you continue to cut them.
Keep that root in the ground.
And so you got an endless supply of greens. We got greens popping up everywhere. And we sit back like wow,
right. Yeah, right. It's growing incredible on the side of the porch because of some seeds that fell over there. Once seeds fall to the ground, it's hard to get them up. So So we just let them greens grow. And
sometimes we'll walk around, we'll look, there'll be a tomato growing somewhere where you didn't even plant no tomatoes.
Right.
There goes some tomatoes over there growing in the flower bed,
Yes.
It's just amazing how things could be when you really get into this planning and dealing with this gardening and stuff, farming. It is really incredible. And just like we said before, we want to talk about this food security. chickens and quail are very easy to raise, and we talked about it in the last one that we did.
Pigeons as well.
Pigeons as well. These birds are very easy to raise. And I did a video. I'm in the process of putting the video together now, but I processed a lot of quail.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna show it to you all, and talk a little bit about it. But I did another video on my channel already about how to clean quail.
Right.
And so I may connect the two together and just put it all as one big video, and let you all check it out.
Very tasty bird, y'all. Very
yes,
tasty.
Absolutely.
They're small, but they're tasty. But that's another thing that we want to take to the new farm location is raising of the quail.
Yes.
And yeah, Dusty, celery is another one that's very easy to grow.
Yes.
What I did with celery, because it likes cool weather too, I tossed it under a bush. I just tossed the seeds under there. I didn't do nothing special. I just tossed it under a bush because I knew it would need shade in the summertime. And we had celery growing like crazy under that bush.
So much. I was shocked to see all this celery just coming up like this, and man, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It is a pretty
and
plant.
The celery greens are good too.
Yes, and I believe it's a biennial plant too. So. They come back.
Yes, absolutely.
And so again, we're trying to create food security. That's what the project is all about. With the whole community thing. For anyone who thinks we're trying to do what we've done before, we're not trying to do it like we did before, where anyone can just come and they got their own thing they're trying to do. Anyone who has their own thing that they're trying to do, their own business and all of that kind of stuff. Their mind is not really on this, and so this wouldn't be a good fit at all. So we letting that be known up front, and we're praying that the Most High, again, that He will send the right team for this, okay?
Yes.
Because that's very important to us that we have the right team. Like I said, for now, our family is the team.
Yes.
We're the team for now. We got to do what we have to do here and there,
Yes.
And getting help where we can from my brother and his family, and then we have other people that have helped us do different things around here.
Yes.
Of course, they have their own thing that they're doing. They're farmers or whatever, but they offer their services to other farmers who need help with different things.
Yes.
And so those are options as well. But we would rather have our own team that is, committed to understanding the work and the process. You see,
and working together.
Absolutely. And the idea of having the lease with either an RV or a tiny home situation, that might be good, because if a person gets there and after a 6-month lease expires, they say, you know what? Farming is for the birds. I can't do this. I don't like it. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be a farmer anymore. I don't want to grow food. I want to go back to the city. If a person gets there and that is their thinking, then they can just say, well, I don't want to renew the lease. So this is why we are thinking of whatever option is going to work.
Yes.
You see, whether it's that option or someone who is, is all about righteousness and righteous living.
Yes.
You see.
Yeah, for one thing, a person gotta really have good insight on what's coming to pass. Like the one guy who was at the community we talked about, how he was there for 10 years, and he said, "Why did you?" He said, "Well, I wanted to be a part of this because I can see down the line what's going to happen."
Right.
He's like, I can just see it. I know that the dollar eventually is going to crash. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And so I want to be secure. I want to be somewhere secure where I don't have to worry about food, where I don't have to worry about this and worry about that. And so I'm telling you, to see people come together and work and do things and make things happen is incredible. And let me tell you something. That's why you got to work together. I'm going to tell you something. We have our family, we work together. When they come to knocking some things out, we work together. A person can go away, come back 2 weeks later, and they be like, wow, you did what? Because that's how we work. We work fast like that. We work together. We knock things out quickly.
Right.
And so we got a number of projects that we have done, especially here where we're at now. a number of things that we've done, but because we work together, we're able to get it done.
Yes.
You know?
And we're not saying that we're perfect in any way and that we got
Right.
it all figured out. We are far from that, and we do not have it all figured out, and we are still trying and learning ourselves.
That's right.
Still learning ourselves. But one thing that we do know is that we don't have time to waste. That's one thing we do know.
Yes.
No time to waste. We
No
want to
time to waste.
make sure that we're handling our business. And many of you have reached out to us concerning buying land. Might as well mention it here too. We've done many videos on buying and acquiring land as well.
Yes.
A few times we have shared with various ones. Actually, on our channel, we just shared a few properties that we found that were available. And so I'm always looking. It's I guess it's a hobby of mine to know what's out there.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm so glad that my wife is the way she is. She is a virtuous woman. The scripture says she considereth a land, and she buyeth it. It's just kind of funny because when my wife, there were a few different properties that we had looked at and we thought about getting, but when she came across this one that we have now, this other one, shall I say the one that we're talking about doing this little teamwork on or whatever, I was shocked. When we went and took a look at it and the location and the rules, everything, it was just literally incredible. Mm-hmm. And so I think the Most High that He had put that in her to be that type of person to look and search and find things. And I'm telling you, it's incredible, you know, to have someone that you're working with together and they're able to do that. But my wife has a gift for finding good property. You know, she has a gift for it. When we used to be in real estate years ago, that's what she did, basically. You know, she would find the properties and we would go in and do the work and buy these properties and do the work. And so...
for the person who asked about knowing what to look for, did we put it on this channel? I think we did. I'm not sure.
We had it in the
redirecting.
No, it was on this channel, but it was the you know, the what you call that?
The community tab.
Yeah, you know, where they sign up.
Okay. It's on one of the channels. Oh yes, Patreon.
Yeah,
yes.
Patreon.
We did have it over there, but we also had it on our other channel as well, where we talked extensively about buying land, buying property, not just buying land, because one thing I wanted to mention, and I've mentioned this many times as well too, that you don't have to own acres in order to farm.
That's right.
You don't have to own acres.
That's right.
You can have a half an acre. Some people have no idea how big a half an acre of land is. It's pretty big. Yeah. You see, I mean, you may not be able to raise certain animals on a half an acre.
But let me tell you, no, the bays.
Yeah, right.
You need to check them out. They're out of California. I'm quite sure there are videos on YouTube that you can find about this family. But their lot, they have a very small lot.
Yes.
And they had goats, chickens, tilapia. They were creating their own fuel. I mean, and they were growing so much food to the restaurants were coming there, and they were selling food to the restaurants.
And I believe it was on a quarter of an acre.
Yeah, a quarter of an acre.
It may have even been smaller than that.
Yeah, it was incredibly small. I was shocked to see that they were able to do so much with that small lot of land. It was incredible. Right.
And the reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I mention it is because there are also situations where we will see a house for sale and it's on a half an acre or 3/4 of an acre, but the house is a fixer-upper. You see? I've seen situations like that as well. Yes. And if you're handy, if you're not afraid of a little elbow grease, sometimes you can find yourself a house, and in many cases, there may be a rent to own or a lease option or a land contract to where you can pay on it.
Exactly.
Recently, I saw a property. It was in Illinois. And it was the house that, it was a really beautiful house, but it was on a nice parcel of land. And the house was big, but it was in good condition. And it also had a guest house behind it. Now, I'm guessing that the owner inherited the house because they live in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And so they seemed like they were really desperately trying to get rid of the property. And I had all kinds of thoughts going through my mind. I said, my husband ain't going. Because the thing is, the amount of money they wanted as a down payment. I said, man, anybody can swing that.
Mm-hmm.
Down payment. And then this is what you pay each month. Not only did you get this nice house, but it looked like it was situated on 3/4 of an acre. So it was almost an acre. I think it was actually 0.83 acres or something like that. And it had a rental unit on it. I said, you can't beat that with a bat.
Yeah.
And so that person got so many. Of course, I already knew my husband wasn't going to go for it, but I inquired anyway. But that it went off the market so fast. It went off the market so fast your head could spin, you know. But it was a really, really good deal. A really good deal because the house was incredible. And like I said, the owner inherited. You could tell he must have inherited it because they live in another state.
Yeah.
And the property was in Illinois. So those are the kinds of deals that are out there if you look. If you look.
Yeah.
Unity says there's lots of land in Tennessee. I've noticed that as well, that they have lease options there as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of lease options. Missouri as well.
But we're going to say this, though. I'm going to say this.
You got to do your own homework.
Do your research on that land.
Yes.
You don't want to move right up in the middle of Klan country, right?
Yeah.
So do your research. Know what you're moving around.
Yes.
Know what you're dealing with, you know?
Right. Do your research. Like
Yes.
Watchman said, do your research, right?
Yeah.
Do your research. But one thing that I've learned in this country, anywhere you go.
Yeah.
You know, anywhere you go. Of course, some areas are more concentrated than others when it comes to that type of activity, because a lot of people are surprised when we tell them how racist it is in Michigan. Some people are surprised when they hear that.
Yeah.
And living there for a good portion of my life, I experienced so much of it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, are we living in the South? Is this Mississippi? No, just kidding. But anyway, there are areas up in Michigan that are a trip.
Yeah, I mean a real trip, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll sit there, you be like, when I used to be in sales, I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
I've had people sick their dogs on me.
Yes.
You know, I mean, this guy I went to the door, knocked on their door, right? They don't want to call us for the appointment.
Right.
So I come to their door, right? I used to work for Sears. I go to their door, knock on the door. His wife comes to the door.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes around the side of the house. When he saw his wife in the doorway talking to me,
A black guy.
that man went out his mind. Boy, he told her, get back in the house. Get back in there, screaming at her, right? And then he let his dog out on me.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all the ones called for me to come out.
Right.
You know, I'm working for Sears, then you want me to come out? I'm like, man. But it used to be crazy like that. So you got to make sure, know where you're going.
Just like Winsome said, it's everywhere. It's sad.
Yeah.
Haran Yehuda, Howell, Michigan. Yes, exactly.
Howell, Michigan.
Howell,
Woo.
Michigan. We know about Howell, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Walled Lake.
They said Livonia is one of the
Livonia.
It's the most segregated country city in the whole country.
They said it's one of the most racist. Livonia.
Yeah.
And I used to work in Livonia, Michigan.
I remember one time I was just jogging across the parking lot. I brought something. I was trying to catch the bus. I knew the bus was coming. I didn't want to miss the bus. Police saw me running across the parking lot, and they pulled up in there so fast and stopped me, shut me down. I had to show receipts and everything.
Did you already order that?
Exactly. We had
See you, man.
Young man has a question. No, I didn't get a chance to order yet, young man. Sometimes our
we
children
need another we're recording sign on this door over here.
Right. That we have two doors. This one says recording in process. This one doesn't. So he wants to know if I ordered something that he asked me to order. And it's like, you see, we're here at the table, right, man?
Yeah.
Sometimes children want what they want when they want it.
Yeah.
And so I can't look it up for them right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this person says, yes, it is from the Flint, Michigan. I had family that used to live in Flint. I'm not exactly sure what the dynamics are there. But yeah, this racism thing is all over the country. So but you still have to be careful. I did a video years ago talking about the catch-22 of being black. You know, and the catch-22 is this: if you're black, you got to watch what hood you move in the hood, and you got to watch what neighborhood you move into, so you don't run into people with hoods. You see? Yeah. So that's the catch-22.
In the hood or people with hoods.
I mean that's the catch-22.
Yeah.
So this is why you have to pray. It is everywhere. But I'm also a believer of this, that if a man or a woman's ways are found to be right in the sight of the Most High Yah, even his enemies will be at peace with him.
That's right.
I believe that. I believe that. I really, truly do. And so we have been before you. Didn't really mean to be here this long.
You know how it is once you get to talking about this kind of stuff. It excites us to talk about farming and doing these kind of things, you know. And
I did want to touch on this, if you don't mind, before we go, sweetheart. Mm-hmm. I was feeling some urgency in me before the year crossed over, when we were in December and we were having that warm weather. Mm-hmm. And I was seeing certain bugs outside that I'm not used to seeing in the wintertime. And I kept feeling this strange urgency in me. And it was kind of like a nervous urgency. And what it made me do, I ordered some more portable greenhouses that you can actually sit inside of another greenhouse. And then those things with the lids, because I said, you know what, we've got to get started now with our seedlings. We don't know what this coming year is going to look like. Yes. I don't want to mess around. I don't want to mess around. None of us should be messing around. Start as soon as you can. Yes. If you don't have a greenhouse or a high tunnel or anything like that, you can get the portable greenhouses that are very small and compact. If you have a southern facing window or a window that has decent light, bring those things inside, sit in the front of the window. Right now, I don't care if my windows are blocked with anything. Guess what, y'all? A few weeks ago, we got a bunch of flower pots and we planted some garlic. We got some ginger. We planted inside of the house. This is stuff we're growing inside of the house. We got some little lettuce heads we're growing inside of the house. The scallions, of course. That urgency made me say, look, we don't have time to mess around. We're not going to wait for the weather to break. We're going to break the weather inside. We're going to get these things put together, in which we've already did that. And we're going to get started growing what we can now. We know some things have to wait. Some things have to wait. Certain things you can't start now, right? But whatever you can, get it started now. Don't mess around with this thing. Don't think about it. Don't ponder on it. This is something we must do. We must grow our own food, family. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to mention, too, with this project that we're talking about doing with this new land that we acquired, we are going to do some things to the land first. Yes. And hopefully, we're hoping that by spring we can knock some things out, get a landing pad together, and just get some things done so that it's pretty much ready for when we want to get started with things. Right. So, as a matter of fact, as soon as the weather breaks, we don't even necessarily have to wait for spring per se. But don't mess around. Let us get a couple of 70-degree days. Yeah, absolutely. Or a week where it's going to be mild. We will be right there doing what we can, because this is very important to us. This is very, very important to us. And I know it's very important to many of you as well. I'm so glad to see some of you have already ventured into this. One sister on the last video, I believe she said her and her family have 40 acres that they are already working. Wow. They working that thing, 40 acres, 40 acres, so there's a lot of people are out here doing it, making it happen. And, that is our goal, to just simply do our part. We're not trying to do more than what we can. You see, not trying to do any more than what we can, but what we can do, we would like to. That is the goal. Yes, absolutely. That is the goal. Absolutely. We love you all, family, and we appreciate your time.
We look forward to having Shabbat with you all tomorrow. Hallelujah. Yah willing.
Yah willing, of course. Yes. We didn't intend to keep you this long. We have some things that we need to get working on really quick, and prepare for tomorrow as well.
Yes.
So we're gonna let you all go. So until next time, shalom.
Shalom, family.